Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, October 17th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, this candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, TPST. This has been a very active one, and I've talked about it past few videos, but really recently haven't really been able to say much about it as it's been stuck in this channel. But the channel is no more. You can see earlier on, the price got up above this area and has now been a nice move above it. Now, did it continue to explode? It did not. However, with that being said, the important part, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have traded for a while, but I'm sure you've seen those situations where you get the breakout of an area and then the price goes right back into the location where it broke out from. But that's not the case here. It has been able to go sideways, maintain itself, stay on the top of that sideways channel. So that in and of itself is a nice sign of upward strength. So that's where the first update comes into play. And this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward now, this area right here, top of the channel, going to be that key level that you want to see hold strong as an area of support. So that level right there at $5.92. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this level down here as it served its purpose for now. What about newest areas of resistance? Well, the two main levels that I think most people are going to be watching moving forward is first one, just top part of this consolidation that occurred today, right there at $7.50. You can see several times price got up to that area actually 3 times and was rejected each and every time. Does that mean that the price can never ever get up above $7.50? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's become apparent that there are a lot of sellers at that area. If the price can break above there, then it's essentially a miniature blue sky breakout with the next key level of resistance not being up there until right around $9.80. But all in all, very nice start to the week. Got above the channel, stayed above the channel. So let's see if the price can now break up through $7.50. Next one here, SECO. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past videos I've done, but if you have, and you hopefully remember me talking about that area of resistance right there at $1.38, and right here, the power of charts. Price really came to life right here. Big volume surge. But then you can see right up around that area, that red line is where the momentum just could not maintain itself. Now, the price did actually get above it a couple times, but again, in terms of maintaining and building the momentum, it was not able to do that as the prices dropped back below that area. But on the good news front, at least it's shown some signs of life, and in the very near term, this will be a little bit of a bootleg pattern, but right there, a little miniature bull flag pattern has formed. So bull flag pattern has formed right below the key area of resistance there at $1.38. So it becomes a very valid question to throw in there for Tuesday. Can the price break out of this bull flag, break through the $1.38 mark? We'll see what happens. Next one here, MNTS, and very, very exciting movement here, especially as I speak. You can see last 30 minutes has come to life very nicely. Price is trying to push up towards those highs. Volume is increasing once again, not nearly as big as what it was earlier, but still nonetheless, good solid volume here for the last 30 minutes. And the market still is open for another 10 minutes, so that volume bar has another 10 minutes to get even bigger. But again, let's map out some key levels here. So the first dynamic that you got to think everybody and their brother's uncle is watching is right up there around $5.45, $5.50, whatever you want to call it. Very clearly rejected. Almost got to it during the last 3 minutes, rejected. So, from a self-fulfilling prophecy standpoint, meaning when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It becomes a very valid thought that if the price comes up to that area and can break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. Not guaranteed, but certainly a valid thought process to have. And then just from, I'll do it again very crudely, pattern perspective, put the golf down there to make it a little bit more visual for you golfers out there. Nice little bull pennant pattern. So like the one we just looked at, SECO, just a question now of can the price break up through this pattern, get to that level, and then break up through it? A very interesting dynamic, and that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it and see what happens. So if you find this as an interesting setup, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, MARA, very, very eventful opening 30 minutes, as you can see right there via that candle. Price was all the way up here, dropped all the way down here. But then that's where things get, a little bit more steady, because it's not like the price came all the way down here and then just kept dropping and drifted into oblivion. So not a total gap and trap. It was good to see that the price actually just went sideways here, which is what's also going to give us our key level of support right there at $7.90. Now, I suppose I didn't need to draw in that line there, because you can see hiding behind that line right here is that purple line, which on my chart denotes the very well-known, the very famous 50-period moving average. So like I said, I suppose you don't even need to necessarily throw in this line here, but I'll just keep it in there for visual sake. But $7.90, a level that I would definitely consider a must-hold level. And the reason for that is, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down here and then drop below it, what do you have at that point in time? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but that's not a sign of true power, where a price makes a big move and then goes right back to where it was. Again, not a sign of genuine strength. But if the price can show some signs of progress, and staying above 790 would be progress, because if the price were to go down there and then bounce, you'd have a low there, you'd have lows right there. And if you envision each of those as stair steps, well, now you have progress being made in the upwards direction. So 790, very important. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy here. Essentially just the top part of the sideways channel right now, which sits there right around $8.30. So keep a close eye on that. Next one here, AMC, and overall, yeah, a little bit red on the day, but after the big downwards momentum on Friday, good to see that this thing, like I said, was a little bit red, but by no means did it look anything like this did, on Friday morning. So it's seemingly starting to absorb the losses. Buyers are stepping back in with the sideways price movement. But from a technical point of view, very straightforward. No need to overcomplicate things. I like the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid, and that's what we're going to apply here, because there's two very, very well-known, very well-followed areas. And even if you have a basic understanding of charts, I'm sure you've heard of both these levels. But the first level, I've already talked about, the pink line, which on my chart denotes the 200-period moving average. And the second level up here, the purple line, the 50-period moving average. So essentially, it's become a little bit of a sideways channel. You have the top of the channel, the resistance at the 50-period moving average. You have the bottom of the channel, support down there at the 200-period moving average. And then it just becomes a question ultimately of who is going to win this battle. Are the bulls going to win with a break to the upside, or are the bears going to win with a break to the downside? I think that's going to be the main question here, at least in the early part of this week. So we'll see how things continue to play out. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page that you can get signed up on. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then certainly get signed up for the free live class later this week. Next one here, AAPL Apple, and overall a good solid day as it's been able to break back above this area of resistance here that it had some struggles with. So going to go ahead actually and just get rid of that though, because I want to just focus on a couple of other dynamics here. The first dynamic being this trend line here that is in place. So I'm going to get that line out of there too, and we'll get this trend line mapped out. Now, I'm not saying you have to follow this trend line, but to me, this trend line is interesting. It stands out. And I don't think that's a great discovery. I think a lot of other people are probably watching this trend line. So once again, you have those potential self-filling prophecies. So that's an interesting trend line right there. And then the other dynamic is this purple line up here, 50-period moving average, which you can see has the track record already now of acting as resistance. So if you get a little creative here, we essentially have an ascending triangle pattern. So let's just extend this level out like that. So what we have now, again, using that as a trend line, we have an area of resistance. We have this area of support. So if the price just continues to chop around back and forth, does the price eventually get to that area and push up through it? To me, that's going to be a very interesting situation. Or, I mean, to be fair, for those of you that like to short stocks, you could be wondering, is the price going to come down at some point and then break to the downside? That's also a valid thought process. So that's just going to depend on your personal strategy. But overall, I'm starting to see an ascending triangle form here. Next one, PLTR. Overall, good solid move. Or I should say, just from a bigger picture standpoint, I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, then today's not looking so good. But my point here is that for those of you that watched past videos, I talked about that area at 1690 being a key level of support. And sure, it was weakened up this morning. The price actually got below it, but the bears could not build any momentum. The bulls stepped back up. And then, in fact, if I zoom back in here, you can see that this green candle right there, very, very impressive green candle, battled back upwards, and now the price essentially right where it was. So overall, no progress is really made, but looking at today individually, there was progress made because at one point it was all the way down there and it worked its way back up there. So 1690 remains that key level of support. Near-term area of resistance is going to be that purple line right there. And then from the overarching standpoint, as I've talked about in past videos, that still remains up there at $18.30. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall a good solid day. Again, not necessarily because it was some massive green day, but because these levels of support that I talked about did do a good job of holding strong, namely this 251 mark. And then, yeah, you had this other area down here, which I suppose during that opening 30 minutes got somewhat close, not totally close, but point being that these levels of support did hold strong. But that doesn't really change anything from the fact of, as we continue to go through the week, that these are going to be the main areas of support. So if you want to just call this a support zone, that's completely fine. But the 250.70 mark and then the 247.65 mark are what I would classify as the current level of support. But what happened today was you are building higher lows, which is always good. So you're getting that progress in the upwards direction, which leads to a more than valid question of, is this the start of something bigger? Is there more momentum to come? The week is young, obviously only Monday, so still 4 days on the week left. So if there is going to be more momentum, then a lot of these other stocks that we've talked about, next key battleground, all about that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. Right now, we're right up around 257.50, but that'll definitely be the next key level to watch closely. But no doubt about it, good movement today. Gotta love these higher lows. So is this a leading indicator to more upward strength to come? We'll see what happens. Next one here, AMD, and this is an interesting situation, and one that should hopefully just build confidence for those of you that are wondering about charts, because we have a classic example here of the area that I talked about previously, right there at 107.50 being an area of resistance, and you can see right here today on a couple of different occasions rejected and rejected. So 107.50 remains that key area of resistance in the near term. But in all actuality, before you even look at 107.50, if you look closely, you can see that purple line there, which you now know is the 50-period moving average, has crossed down below that level. So that is now going to be priority number one. So before you even talk about doing battle with 107.50, the price is first going to need to break up above that 50-period moving average. But if the price can do that, then yeah, you're going to want to keep a close eye on 107.50. In terms of areas of support, key level to watch, going to be right down here at these lows at the 105 mark. So keep an eye on 105 moving forward if this thing does come back down. But you can see last time it was down there, this area did do a very nice job of holding that support. So if the price does come down there, do you get some sort of double bottom? No guarantees, but certainly a plausible situation to think about. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up, but it just allows you access at a much lower price point. So we track this one on a very daily basis because, yeah, a lot of people care about the NASDAQ since that's where all the technology stocks are at. But first update here, I'm going to actually just get rid of that line as it served its purpose for now. But really, the key level for me that stands out, and I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think about this trend line? I'm curious. Whoops. I wanted a trend line. There we go. What do you think about this trend line right here? Is this valid? Am I kind of trying to fit a square peg through a round hole? But to me, that trend line is, let me adjust it here, is pretty solid. I mean, just going through the track record of things, rejected. When it did break it, very nice move. Then when it fell back below it, went right back to acting as resistance again. So in my mind, that's a key trend line, but I am open to, maybe it's not as evident as what I think it is. So like I said, let me know in the comment section, but that's one to keep on. Now, the very straightforward level where I don't think there would be much argument from an overarching standpoint for resistance is simply these highs up there at that $40 mark. So keep an eye on that. But before you talk about 40, first level that I'd keep an eye on is this level. Let me just change it up. So there we go. Make it dotted there. So keep an eye on that. As far as the levels of support are concerned, overarching, yes, down here, 200-period moving average is going to be important, but in the much nearer term, key level after today's movement right down here at $38.10. So let me change that. There we go. So $38.10 to keep an eye on that. But overall, good solid move. And I don't know, maybe again. Yeah, maybe a poor man's bull pennant here after today's movement. But regardless, like I said, in my opinion, that's the trend line that's going to matter most moving forward. So we'll see how this continues to play out. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely go get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, October 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, then do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below. Those two things really help out the channel. They really help out these videos, and I thank you in advance. And I do use that as feedback to gauge how popular these videos are remaining or not remaining. So if you enjoy, hit the like button, leave a comment, just say hi, tell me what you traded today, give me a watch list for tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out. Go get signed up for that free class. Thanks for hanging out. I think I already said that, but and it's already Monday. It's going to be a long week. Thanks.